He was burning up, now the sun gone down. Lights in the distance, a forgotten town. No, I'm on my way. Oh, I'm on my way. So stand on the edge of the world with me.
Drinking Kool-Aid cameras like I did when I was 9, 'cause I like to pretend that I haven't lost the time. In the end, the nostalgia, though it tastes fine, I can only drink a couple 'cause it feels like a lie. We'd play Halo and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. We would go to school but not learn too much, 'cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes. Months go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime. Years go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime. They've been with me for some time, and it's nice to know that they still by my side. Friends are like stars, 'cause no matter how far, when it's dark outside, they will be your light. We'd play Halo and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. But not learn too much, 'cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes. Months go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime. Years go by, the time it flies,
Go into here. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is not a YouTube. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hello. How are you all doing? We are streaming again. Feels like it's been so long. Let's turn this up a little bit. So, there was a follow from 5 days ago. Thank you, Orankin, for the follow. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Let me make myself bigger. Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing today? It's a Wednesday night. I've started stream 3.5 hours later than usual. I just got off work about 2 hours ago, and I've been in the shower and doing some chores since then. Yeah. So today we are going to play Touchstarved. Continuing on, as per usual. We're continuing on with the game. I'm gonna make my character smaller. because I'm loading the game up now. Oh, my thing stopped. I've just begun. I've just begun. So we are going to be playing Touchstarved. Per usual. You can hear it in the background. Alrighty. I'm currently loading it up. Just give me one moment. Let's continue on. We're continuing off where we left off. Do we want to continue playing the music in the background? As the shadows of yesterday begin to fall away, every look at the rising sun, I know I have just begun. I just begun. I've just begun. I've just begun. Do you ever feel drowning in an open sky on an empty hill where you started your life, chasing the blue stars of the dark of the night? And as I sail with hope on our hearts and elevator, pretty stillness of eyes, I'll take your hand, we'll run to the empty sky. Take my hand and run to the empty sky. Alrighty. Alright. Alrighty, I will be reading out the lines. Bum, 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 bum. I find myself standing in a narrow and rather gloomy alley. I put the new cloak up over my nose, stepping over the contents of chamber pots that have been emptied into the streets. Is my voice good? Holy shit, that just got hella loud. Okay, something weighs heavily inside one of the cloak's pockets, my coin purse. Everything is still inside, every last bit of coin that I scraped together for the journey to Iridia. It doesn't even look like it was opened. There were so few coins to begin with, they probably weren't worth stealing. Is my voice still a little bit too loud? Okay. I glanced back at the clinic's closed door. Koras didn't take any payment. He didn't even ask for a future favor. But he also said that in Iridia, secrets are power. Does he expect me to give up mine at some point? That's not exactly a comforting thought. Still, no matter why he did it, Koras gave me a second chance and a lead on where I might find help. I better get going before he changes his mind. I squeeze out of the alley and into the crowded main street. The line outside Koras' clinic stretches down the road already. Two thin peddlers queue alongside weathered elders. If any place is in desperate need of a free clinic, it's this one. The cobblestones are treacherously rough underneath my feet. Deep grooves worn between them by regular flooding and decades of hard use. I knew Iridia was a river city, but I didn't expect it to look so eroded. The buildings are tired and dilapidated, all crammed together in narrow streets. A child darts by, clutching something greasy wrapped in paper. The smell of fried food drifts over to me. My stomach gives a faint gurgle. This morning's catch, fried up, hot and fresh. Not too many eyeballs today. That sounds disgusting, but I'm starving, so I duck my head under the stall's grubby awning. A large fish leers up at me, its 3 bulging eyes still visible through the thick layer of crispy batter. The vendor gives me a gap-toothed grin. What's the cheapest thing you've got? The vendor points at a metal basket of what looks like long strips of savory fried dough. Fresh long, lads, 3 copper apiece. Don't burn your mouths. I take the coins out, counting them gingerly. At this rate, I might not even be able to afford dinner. Reluctantly, I drop the payment on the counter and take my meal. 2 streets later, I pass under a wrought iron archway adorned with dangling garlands of red and pink lilies. The buildings in this quarter are a dizzying riot of color, painted with walls and tinted glass everywhere I look. Sheer red and pink curtains flutter in open doorways. Musical voices call out invitingly. Incense mingles with the pungent scent of flowers, barely covering the salt and musk of warm bodies. This must be Iridia's entertainment district. I'm polishing off my food and dusting the crumbs from my hands when I spot a poster. It features the silhouette of a smiling man wearing a single dagger-like earring and the word Bloodhounds printed above his head. A motto, as above, so below, circles the artwork. You know what I find interesting about that motto? That motto is associated with the devil. As above, so below. It basically means that heaven is the same as hell. Anyway. If Leander is the leader of the Bloodhounds, then the face printed on the poster is likely his. I follow the line of identical posters around a corner and nearly hit my head on a precariously dangling wooden sign. Looking up, faded orange letters read, "The Wet Wick." The facade of the building looks like it's seen better days, but I hear faint music and laughter coming from inside. It might be a long stream today. Who knows? We'll see. The inside of the bar is a far cry from the abandoned exterior. It's not even midday, yet most of the tables and booths are occupied by a loose assembly of people in matching green cloaks. I'm no stranger to bars. Sometimes I would take my books to the local tavern for a change of scenery, but I much prefer quieter places. A cursory glance doesn't turn up anyone with a dagger-shaped earring. I'm about to head towards the counter when a chant rises from the center of the room. Show! 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 The remaining green cloaks abandon the bar and their booths to rush towards the center of the room in a sudden torrent. There's no time to move out of the way. I'm caught, swept along in the ale-stenched current. Hey! Rhythmic chanting drowns out my voice. I thrash, throwing out my elbows as the press of bodies grow heavier. My hip knocks into a table. I grip it, holding on tight to steady myself, but the crowd has stilled. The chanting stopped. A pair of gilded boots stride across the tabletop. Ah, shit. Seriously, you dogs, again? Scattered laughter and cheers arise from the audience. I direct my eyes upwards. A well-dressed man stands on the table in front of me, his broad shoulders framed by the thick lapels of a trench coat. And then, just for fan service, look at that hunk. Anyway, this really is the last time, alright? This time when he speaks, the audience falls silent, as though bewitched by his magnetic presence or rich, low voice. But nothing is as captivating as his smile. He beams at the crowd around him, a performer on his makeshift stage. Don't blink or you'll miss it. He laughs and the dagger-shaped earring dangling from his left ear catches the light in a flash of gold. It would seem I found Leander. He raises his hand above the audience and snaps. A flash of pale green light, real magic, no ordinary stage trick, blinds me. Again, for the fan service. Look at that! Look at that, look at that. I also love how this is shaped in like the triple moon symbol. That's the only... Oh, there's a few things down here that could mean something in religion. Okay. As the brilliance ebbs, my gaze refocuses on the mage towering above me. He flicks his wrist and the magic spiraling around him coalesces. A delicate flower stem sprouts from between his pinched fingers. One by one, glowing lily petals spring forth. With a flourish, the magic presents the conjured flowers. The audience bursts into clapping and cheers. My mouth hangs open, and not just on account of the impressive performance. There was no incantation, no spell circle. I've never seen something so beautiful and intricate conjured so effortlessly. Leander must be an incredibly gifted mage. No wonder Kuras recommended him. Leander plucks the iridescent bouquet out of the air and turns in a slow circle, giving his audience a good look. Now, who could use some good luck? Eager onlookers scoot closer to the table. Some reach for the lilies while others whistle and call Leander's name. But his cool green eyes slide right over them, locking on me instead. How about you? Hold on. How about you? My chest tightens. Every person gathers to stare at me. Every person gathered turns to stare at me. Take the flowers. I reach out, all too aware of the way my fingers tremble as I carefully take the flowers from him. There's no weight on them, only a faint warmth that radiates from the stems. As soon as the flowers leave Leander's hand, their light dims. They fade away in a shower of opalescent light. To my surprise, Leander laughs under his breath. That's the problem with flowers. They don't last long, but they leave an impression, right? Wow, no! He grins at me, and I find myself smiling back. Leander steps off of the table, dropping among this excited crowd with an audible clink. Alright, bloodhounds, get back to your drinks. Show's over. The green cloaks disperse at his command, returning to their tables and booths. Before I can make my way towards Leander, his eyes find me. He gives me a friendly wave, then beckons me over to the crowded counter. I manage to squeeze beside him, but there's so little room that his broad shoulder presses against mine. I tense, but he doesn't even seem to mind at all. Is this your first time in Iridia? He says it lightly with a genuine air of curiosity. Do I stick out that much? No, but I'm certain I'd remember seeing a face as lovely as yours around at Lowtown. My eyes flicker to the polished countertop. I'm not used to flattery, and being this close makes eye contact difficult. As if on cue, the bartender approaches us. What can I get you? Surprise me and add anything my friend wants to my tab. I wasn't expecting the generosity, but I have to admit, I do feel a little thirsty after all that fried dough. I'll have what he's having. While the bartender leaves to fix our drinks, Leander leans his elbows on the counter. I'm close enough to notice the purple shadows under his lower lids. His eyes wander over me in return, but when they lock on my bandaged hands, a sour taste rises in my throat. Here comes the questions. So, what brings you to the Wick? Kira sent me. He pushes his hair back from his forehead, but it immediately falls right back into place. So, it's about work. The bartender returns with a pair of glasses filled with what I can only assume is beer. Shit. I raise my glass and give it an experimental sniff. It smells faintly yeasty, but with an undercurrent I can't quite place. A quick sip confirms my worst suspicions. It's awful. Somehow briny and sour in a way that reminds me of pickles. But any thought of complaining dies the moment I look up and see Leander taking a deep swig from his glass. He lets out a satisfied breath. How can I be of assistance? I need to get to the cenobium. As soon as the word cenobium leaves my mouth, the entire bar falls quiet. Bloodhounds twist around in their seats to gawk openly. Finally, an especially drunk one speaks up. The hell are you bringing up the cenobium in here? Throw him out. This is bloodhound territory. The vitriol catches me off guard. From the angry looks thrown my way, it's clear I've broken some unspoken rule just by mentioning the cenobium. When I glance at Leander, he's drinking as though he hasn't noticed the uproar. Only when he catches me looking does he lower his glass. For the love of... He drags a hand down his face. Hey, keep it down, will you? This is business. I tense, expecting an argument, but the outspoken bloodhound silently returned to their drinks. Only a handful continued to watch me warily. Warily, not rarely. Warily. Sorry about them. The cenobium's a bit of a touchy subject in these parts. Mix in enough drinks and, well, you saw. But how about we continue this outside? When I give him a terse nod, he pushes away from the bar counter. Ooh. I follow Leander to an alleyway tucked behind the wet wick where layers of frayed bloodhound posters have been plastered to the walls. Seeing them side by side, the resemblance between Leander and his likeness on the posters is impressive. Kiras didn't send you here for help with the cenobium, did he? From the look he gives me, he already knows the answer. I glance away. No, he didn't. He suggested I find an alternative. Yet here you are, asking about them anyway. What do you need the cenobium for? I don't want to tell them about my curse. The less people know about my capabilities, the better. Thankfully, Leander takes my reluctant silence as an answer. Well, I see you're already aware of the city's currency. Information's worth its weight in gold here. Karis told you the truth. The cenobium's dangerous. Get on their bad side and they'll imprison you if you're lucky, or torture you if you're not. Torture? My teacher never described anything like that. But the cenobium's supposed to be a place of learning, a sanctuary. The cenobium has always been heralded as the last bastion of human knowledge, a shining beacon of hope in a world steeped in nightmares. If any place held answers, it would be the cenobium. That's why I came here. That's what they want you to think, that things that seem too good to be true are often just that. Such a simple statement, and yet it leaves me reeling. If it's true, if I staked everything on a lie, then what now? Leander clears his throat. But as I always say, there's solutions to every problem and alternatives to every solution. He claps his hands and turns to me with a brilliant smile. That's why Karis pointed you to the bloodhounds. Let us help you, whether it's hunting soulless, finding people, or recovering stolen valuables. We can do it all, and free of charge. I'm shaking my head before he's finished his practice speech. My patience is wearing dangerously thin. Bum bum bum. Listen, I appreciate the offer, but my problem can't be solved by a group of good Samaritans. To my chagrin, Leander nods slowly. Then your problem must be fairly serious, and if the cenobium's your first choice... You're searching for a magical solution, aren't you? When my eyes widen, he nods along, as though he suspected all along. I'd be happy to help you out, that is, if you'll tell me what ails you. Leander might not work for the Cenobium, but if his show was any indication, then he's even stronger than the mage who raised me. She couldn't do anything about my curse, but maybe. I'm silent, plagued by indecision. I don't know if I can trust him, but it's not like I have any alternatives. I hate to admit it, but this could be my only path forward. My confession comes out in a pained whisper. I'm cursed. Cursed? Oh, now I'm very curious. What kind of curse? Something ancestral or more recent? He looks me up and down, taking in my face, my eyes, and finally my hands. It's your hands, isn't it? I wait until I'm certain my voice will remain steady before answering. My touch is dangerous. It changes people, hurts them. Before I've even finished, Leander begins taking his glove off. He tugs his left hand free and flexes his fingers. Let's see it. He offers me his hand. A prismatic flash of magic ripples across his skin. An enchantment for protection, but I'm already shrinking backwards. I can't. I don't care how confident Leander is. I can't bring myself to hurt him, to see his kind face twist into a mask of madness. Believe me, this isn't an ordinary curse. I'll be fine. Perhaps where you came from, your affliction was strange and one of a kind. But spend a year in the city and you'll see 1,000 curses and thrice as many cures. Do you really think Curus would send you here if I couldn't handle it? How should I know? I only met him today. I'm as good as any mage in the Cenobium. Better even. If they can help, so can I. You don't know what you're asking me. I'm asking you to trust me. I look from Leander's outstretched hand to his confident smile. Then, with a short breath, I begin unwinding the bandages from my hand. Fine, but if you lose control, don't say I didn't warn you. You can tie me up first if it makes you feel better. Was that a blush? That was a blush. Look at that blush. Woo! The baby boy is blushing. Wow. With each joint I expose, I grow more and more certain that this is a terrible idea. Ready when you are. If he's bothered by the way my hand looks, he doesn't show it. My fingers hover shakily over his palm. 3, 2, 1. Touch him. I tap his palm once, as quickly as possible. It's barely more than a brush, but that's all it ever takes. When I look at his face, expecting to see the worst, Leander only grins. See? It can't be. This time, when I reach out to touch Leander's palm again, he catches my wrist before I can pull away. I told you, there's really nothing to worry about. He trails off when my thumb brushes the soft skin of his inner wrist. He's blushing. He's blushing! Fuck, my thing stopped. Hey, he's blushing! What the? What? Woo! He's blushing. He's blushing. He's blushing, blushing, blushing. Wow. I search Leander's face for traces of madness, but his eyes remain a clear, soft green. Color rises in his cheeks, but he remains still except for the subtle bobbing of his throat. Neither of us speak as I trace the contours of Leander's palm, lost in an awareness I wasn't prepared for. But I've been with other people, kissed them, been embraced by them, and more, but not like this. I've been with other people, kissed them, been embraced by them, and more, but not like this. My fingers, long deprived by years of bandaging, pick up every single detail. The grooves of his palm, the smooth shell of his nails, the pulse of his heart. For as long as I've lived, I've never been able to hold someone's hands, not without dire consequences. I never realized what I was missing until this moment. While Leander's pulse is steady, mine is hammering as fear gives way to excitement. Keep touching him. Fuck, what was I going to say just now? Anyway, my hand glides over Leander's wrist and up his forearm, where smooth skin abruptly gives way to the raised scar by the edge of his sleeve. It matches the one that runs from his collar to his cheekbone. Could it be the same wound? If so, it'd be going down like that. I glance at Leander's face. Yeah, it'd be going down like that. I glance at Leander's face, and his lips part as he considers his words before speaking. Am I the first person you've been able to touch like this? My hand goes still on his arms. On his arms. Arm, not plural. So far. I'll admit your touch does make it somewhat difficult to stay level-headed, but not due to your power. He takes my hand, his soft green eyes flick to mine before he turns it to inspect the golden fissures crisscrossing my knuckles. Look, we match. He points at a golden pin on his coat collar, and I give him a small smile. I am assuming it's this one? I draw my hand back and take a steadying breath. My head feels as though it's stuffed with cotton. Habit alone guides me through the motions of rewrapping my hand, although my fingers tremble too much for the bandages to lie flat. I can't believe that works. May I ask your name? I am Shadow. You were right to hide this from me, Shadow. That curse of yours, it's unlike anything I've ever dealt with. I can tell you're discreet, but you'd best not go showing that off to anyone else. I didn't plan on it. Are you staying in Lowtown? I paused. Room and board was something I hadn't yet considered. I don't know. Let's get you properly settled, then. The Wet Wick is noticeably quieter. Without their leader, most of the bloodhounds have dispersed, or in a few cases fallen asleep beside their drinks. Got any rooms left, or did my lot grab them all to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realize doubles as innkeeper, slides a key onto the counter. You know I always keep the corner room open for your escape bids. Leander's laugh sounds slightly strained. And I always appreciate it, but you're mistaken. This is just for my friend Shadow. Sure. Stay as long as you like. You two have fun. Escape baits, huh? Leander clears his throat, then holds the key out to me. But I hesitate. My coin purse barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone a room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhound rates. My treat, since you shared your secret. Food, drink, a warm bed, anything you need. Carefully, I take the key from him. It's small but weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Iridia, let alone free meals. Thank you. Go explore, Shadow. You'll find many roads in Iridia, each leading to different answers, but if you need reprieve from what haunts you, come find me. Just be careful. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking it into the pocket of my cloak for safekeeping. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. We're still not caught up to my personal my personal spot. I actually want to see how far I am. This is the most recent one. So after him. The air clings, sodden and heavy. Without the morning crowd, the sunless streets look barren and bleak. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crows remain quibbling over stale crusts in a gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. At least they've got reason to fight. I've never felt so lost. Karis and Leander both made it clear that this Nobium can't be trusted. But I came so far, endured so much. I need to see this Nobium for myself, if only to satisfy my curiosity. I should have asked someone at the bar for directions before leaving. I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. A cloud, I think, until the puff of hot breath tickles the back of my neck. The shadow runs down the street in rivulets. Formless dark spreads like ink into blotted shapes. Claws stretch. A muzzle splits open to reveal long, jagged teeth. A growl rumbles so low and deep I feel it. I want to run, to scream, but I feel trapped, as though the slightest movement or a single breath will snap the jaws around me shut. No, I won't let it end like this. If I'm going to die, I want to see what got me first. I steel myself, then turn. The shadow vanishes as quickly as it came. I'm left standing in the middle of the street alone, except for a figure reclining in the shade of a nearby stoop. For fan service, here you go. So we've met Curious, we met Leander, and now we have him. A monster, that much is clear from our glance. One that could nearly be mistaken for a human, were it not for the tufted ears, the tail curled around his ankle, or the dusk pink eyes with pupils that sharpen like needles when they fall on me. Our eyes meet and the monster uncrosses his long legs. His hair gleams a shade of red that reminds me unsettlingly of blood where it curls around his collared throat. Jumpy, aren't you? His tone is so light and carefree that I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, the stranger props his chin on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable little smile. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive, moved like a beast. Even as I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I must sound, but the stranger's smile doesn't falter. The only beasts I've seen are the Wick's drooling regulars, though this did catch my eye. With a flourish of his hand, the in-room key appears dangling from his fingers. It turns on its chain, glittering when it catches the light. I like the design of his outfit. For a second there, I thought he was wearing thigh highs, but those are just like leather boots or something. Skin-tight leather boots. Glittering when it catches the light. My hands fly to my cloak's pockets, and sure enough, find them flat. He crooks his finger, beckoning. I've already taken 2 steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. I'm still on edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flickers at the edges of my vision. I always attract the worst kind of attention, but I can't get rattled now. Where did you find it? How did you even find it? The key, I mean. What can I say? I'm a sucker for shining things. He smiles wide enough to reveal pointed canines. I saw you drop it. You really should be more careful. A city like this, somebody might take advantage. A bold-faced lie said without a hint of irony. There's no way I dropped that key, but I can't think of an explanation for how it went from my pocket to his hand. I approach the man, careful to keep an arm's length away. He doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. The stranger's chain softly clinks with the tilt of his head, his ears flick. Keeping your distance? I'd be stupid to trust you. You think I stole your dinky little key from all the way over here? He gives me an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? He's got me there. The sheer fabric of his sleeves alone would be too expensive for most street thieves. Hell, his shoes look like they cost more than I spent traveling here. And then there's the shop behind him. No matter the city, parted pink curtains only ever mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy, but I doubt I could afford your services anyway. Luckily for you, I don't charge. The man runs the tip of his tongue over a fang, and for the first time since I stepped into that shadow, I feel something other than dread. My face grows hot. That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. Were sex my trade, I might make an exception for you. How about half off for a handy, or you could just hand over my key. Ask nicely and I might even let you tug my tail. Just throw it here. So, some spindly little secret urchin can snatch it and run? He raises my key and tilts his head so he can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could just claim your room for myself. Sorry about that. I keep on forgetting to watch the connect to PC button so that it doesn't turn off. Anyway. Not that I'd be caught dead slumming in the wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from around here, so tell me, traveler, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? His voice practically dips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. What could have possibly drawn you to this dreary little pig pen, I wonder? He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging around his finger. The weather's shit, the food's dreck, and there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe. Unless... Dagger-sharp eyes flick towards me. They gleam with amusement. Unless you're just dying to consort with monsters. By now, my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its place. If this is a shakedown, it's the most frustrating one I've ever heard of. Turn him down, flirt back, turn him down, flirt back, turn him down, flirt back. Do we do anime cliche, or do we do our own thing? I'm just thinking of the consequences. I think we're gonna turn him down. Let's turn him down. Are you done, or did you plan on flirting with me until the night falls? He touches his chest in mock affront. You wound me. How can you be so immune to my charms? You're about as charming as an ox and half as subtle. I suggest you go practice your seduction on someone interested. This earns me a burst of breathy laughter. How about you teach me the ropes, show me your thing or two? The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. And something tells me that this one's more dangerous than he lets on, even if he has a lovely laugh. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me, but I'm not coming any closer until I know you're not going to attack. You aren't going to attack or bite. I won't bite hard unless you beg me. No matter what I say, he finds a way to twist my words into innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though we are having a conversation, not a standoff. Do you like dancing? There's a traveling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. Their lutist is utterly exquisite, truly a performance to die for. There's life in this dreadful place if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling off from his finger. Naturally, this stump was little more than a miserable little smear when I first arrived. High town, low town, I know Iridia like the back of my hand. How about the Cenobium? What about the Cenobium? Do you know where that is? His smile vanishes. Surely you've seen it, that absurdly large tower looming over the horizon. It's a little hard to miss. He must mean that spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. The Cenobium's overrated, forget about it. I can show you things those stuffy boars and their limp dick tower couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh? Have you some pressing matters at the Cenobium? Lunch dates with the librarians? Tea time with the most esteemed Abez? That's my business. What's it matter to you? I square my shoulders and the amusement bleeds out of me. Your loss. The stranger, finally bored of his tedious game, extends his hand towards me. The key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin and leather. When he makes no other move, I reach for the key, but as soon as my fingers graze smooth brass, his hand springs shut around my elbow. Hey! For fan service. Done. He yanks me down and I stagger, my soul slipping on the steps. For a sick moment, I fear my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them even as his fingers dig into my arm. I knew I smelled blood. You reek of death and the road. And that fucking doctor. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. And something else. He murmurs against my throat, nose gazing my jaw. Let go! I try to twist away, but he doesn't budge. His breath trails down my neck, sending a thrill of dread through me. But just when I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes up at me. Not quite human, not quite monster. Seems we're both. There! The stranger's ears flatten, and he releases me with a short breath. I yank my arm back, massaging it where his grip left grooves in the bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck out from the curtains behind him. Her cenobium uniform is nearly identical to the one my mentor kept tucked away in her closet. I leave you for all of what, 10 minutes and you're making trouble again? Will you quit harassing the tourists? The stranger, fair I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric a withering smile. So suspicious, can't you see this is a friend of mine? A natural liar, he grins at me and his tail swishes minutely. Wow, I can't speak today. The woman purses her lips at me, clearly unconvinced. I open my mouth to correct him, but Bear cuts in. I was graciously offering my dear friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Danger's drawn to you like a moth to flame. It will always find you given time. The woman clicks her tongue, as though she's heard this recital 102 times. Word of advice, don't take free advice from lazy foxes lounging on the streets. This crook will sell water to a drowning man for the sheer enjoyment of it. She shrugs it off a wilting look from Bear. Oh please, any friend of yours knows it's true. Now hold still. Bear rises gracefully to her approach. He pushes his hair aside so it drapes over one shoulder, exposing the long line of his neck. And suddenly it dawns on me that the jingling I heard earlier wasn't coming from the harness attached to his collar, but a leash. A heavy iron chain wound around a hitching post and padlocked to the back of his collar. Bear posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. The woman produces a keyring from her pocket. She riffles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Come on, unless your friend's tagging along on our merry little soulless hunt. They're hunting for solace inside the city. Words momentarily fail me. The woman regards me with a polite, if tight smile before marching down the stairs. Bear lingers. He stretches his arms over his head with a yawn, and I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens when he arches his back. It happened again! There we go. Your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed, Bear hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merrily, as though he hadn't just lied and threatens me. Did you try that thing I mentioned? The Loventian knot? The one that's the one where you take 3 fingers and actually don't tell me. Knowing you, it's disgusting. Bear's airy laughter echoes down the street. It's only after he and Cleric have vanished from sight that I realize I'm still missing something. Wait. Effectively, I shove my hands into my pockets and find it, the room key. I pull it out of my pocket and raise it to the light just to be sure. Nagging feeling distracts me from my relief. I don't know what Bear's game was or what he wanted from me. All I know for certain is that the cenobium saw fit to leash him, a fate I could share if that's what his vague warning meant. I let my eyes drift skyward past the lantern gently swaying in the breeze to the cenobium faintly visible through the haze. Just one glimpse is all I need, then I can put this all behind me. This time the key goes into my coin purse for safekeeping. Alright, and I think we're officially past my personal playthrough. It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridia in two. A colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing ever uphill toward the distant tower. Hours later, eggs aching? What the fuck? Hours later, legs aching, sweat beating from my... I can't speak anymore. Hours later, legs aching, sweat beating on my forehead, I finally find what I was searching for. The cenobium of the luminous void. It stands at the highest point of Iridia, surrounded by cold white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the cenobium tower disappears into the clouds overhead. The gates are so heavily enchanted that even standing near them sets my teeth on edge. Alchemically reinforced locks, invisible sigils of alarm, and who knows what else. Knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps when something moves in my peripheral vision. A shadowy figure crouches beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine as if testing its strength. Oi, you there. The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and a gaunt-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the steps towards me. Another tourist. Get out of here once you're done gawking. A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer from me. I look back at where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing, just the leaves blowing gently in the cool breeze. I step away from the gate's hopelessness vent washing over me. Hello. Hold on. Hello? A whisper so close I can feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gaunt as a rail, her blouse moth-eating. I'm unable to take my eyes off her. Not because of the way she smiles a little too widely, or the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. These days, you need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure how to respond, or even if I should. Say nothing. After the experience I've just had, I'm not too keen on indulging strangers with small talk. Despite my silence, she maintains her unflinching stare and smile. Lucky for you, I have miracles for free. Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in a tired breath. No thanks. I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps into my path. She turns her back to me, and before I can react, she slips her fingers under the lacing of her collar, stripping out of her blouse in broad daylight. What are you... As worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken, scarred curves into the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders. Her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. A shuddering breath escapes me. The fuck? By the looks of it, the disease that afflicted this woman ate away at her spine, leaving her with a hollowed vertebrae at the back of her neck. How is she able to move or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet... The power to cure anything can be yours too, the power of the sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and deftly laces it up. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's only a short walk away. Without another glance, she leisurely strolls down the cenobium stairs, loose braids bobbing behind her. The edge of her scar peeks out from under her collar. I stand there, wordless, until I manage to regain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision in my life, but what choice do I have? I take a final look at the cenobium's shut gates, then follow her down the steps. We descend from the higher streets, leaving behind their gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict districts move. The wet, derelict districts feel more familiar to me. But the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther, then farther still, until I am met with an all-too-familiar sight. My girt lurches when I face the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in daylight, and probably safer for it. But venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. I bark out a bitter laugh, loud and involuntary. This is a setup. This has to be a setup. As soon as I step out of here, some friends of yours will ambush and mug me. If I wanted something for you, I would already have it. She says it so lightly, I almost believe her, even if she looks as physically capable as a toothpick. You're as safe inside the city as outside of it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. What do you mean, territory? This region belongs to Eyes. Most people know him as a gang leader, but he's much more than that. I squint against the empty wastelands. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. Apparently, I'm both. But if the sea spring cured her, I need to see what it can do for me. I set off into the wastes. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me. Good luck, Shadow. I hope we meet again. My heart pounds with each step I take from civilization. For what seems like an eternity, I force each foot forward, one step, then another, until a realization hits me. I never told the woman my name. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. A building nestled into the tall cliffside, but so starkly out of place it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, an ornate jewel of architecture. A row of dark silhouettes stand out on the horizon. Trees, I think, until I'm close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Soulless, several of them watch me in the distance like statues. I don't think. I just run, exploding into a messy sprint. I push my legs as fast as they'll take me towards that decorated building. Flashes of last night chase me. The gushes of blood and screams of death. The smell of burning flesh and sour bile. I can't go through that again. I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through towering double doors. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but when I process my surroundings, it's more hellscape than sanctuary. Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth. But the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. I swallow thickly, convincing myself that it's not as gruesome as it appears, that this has to be the sea spring, the place that grants miracles. Putting my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes. Seating pillows scatter the floor. A rustic kettle sits nearby. Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. Call out. Hello? Is anyone here? My voice echoes across the cavern without response. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more. I reach for the topmost, the closest one, or the bottommost, the closest one. I reach for a note in front of me. It reads, Dear Mother, don't cry for me. I'm sorry I didn't say goodbye, but we'll meet again in another life. I love you very much. From Iris. No one will read this, but it's not for anyone else. This is evidence I existed in this rotten, grim world. About the bottommost. They watch me through the mirrors. They won't stop staring. They know what I did, but they won't hate me. But they won't have me. I'm safe now. I'm safe now. I'm safe now. Let's go with the first option that I made. P.S. If you ever see me, never speak to me again. It's written in perfect cursive. I've never seen such beautiful handwriting. Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Someone's watching me. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooden deck. But it's still empty. Vacant. Finally, I look towards the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper. Something wrong. Hey. I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. They chitter and growl, tendrils and spikes flaring threateningly. All different sizes and species, but sharing one identical trait. Glowing crimson eyes. I try to back away, but my heel teeters over the sea spring. I'm cornered. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. That voice again. At the sound of it, the soulless freeze, their snarls quieting. I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters. You look lost, little sparrow. It's hot, dude. It's hot, dude. It's hot, dude, boys. It's hot, dude, boys. It's the hot dude. His gaze is a violet crimson, one that sears through me, leaves me feeling raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over, first with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twist and coil around the wooden beams. I can't focus. The soulless' growls ring in my ears. They're not advancing, but that could change at any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them. Hey! Eyes on me. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. For a moment, anger knocks my fair side. Who is this bastard? I'm distracted. Fuck you. I'm distracted. I'm kinda distracted by the soulless about to maul me. Only on my command. I scan the soulless again. They really aren't attacking, posturing more than anything else. You tamed them? Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might fight. You could give me a reason to stop them. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing. And that's punishable by death? He gives a non-committal shrug. I called out earlier to see if anyone was here. Were we supposed to play hide and seek? Didn't hear you. My voice stops in my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to diffuse the situation. Tell me what you want. I'm not in the mood for guessing games. I am not in the mood for guessing games. Your hands. Alarm jolts through me. I hide my hands under my cloak. Show me. Why? I won't ask twice. With a sharp huff, I reluctantly hold out my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this? Unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face and fire to my tongue. I should give him a little piece of my mind, but not when his soulless are one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well, the hideous, unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. I grip the edge of the bandages. Stop. Hello? Hello? I love how his name is now Bastard. One moment. Stop. With a wary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. He's a monster with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big, illuminated by lantern light. His features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clinks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards and find nothing to set my foot on. I'd forgotten my back was to the sea spring. I fall right before a warm hand catches my lower back. I'm hovering above the sea spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. Told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the solids around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor is so abrupt it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though now I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of the kettles with the kettle with a scowl. The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So that's it? I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one. Then why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I jerk a hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. Your eyes, aren't you? Depends on who's asking. One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said you were a gang leader. But there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Ice picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the sea spring, then dumps the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. Then in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. What do you need the sea spring's power for? Depends. Can it cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? Nope. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow, the sea spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink. I have to drink from the sea spring? My eyes glide to this blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. It's not as if I'm averse to elixirs or decoctions. I've made my fair share of them, but one misstep and you can easily meet with a fate worse than death. Is there a price? Always. Ice taps his temple with a finger. You lose it a little bit. That's it. Might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused, fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the sea spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who never drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big, happy family in your head. My blood runs cold. I've never heard of these before. I've heard of these before. Group minds. Some legends suggest that the independent minds can be physically linked together through a strong enough catalyst. It's never been done before. But something tells me this is real, even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Before I can finish my sentence, Aya strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up, let's finish this later. Wait, already? You've barely told me anything. Came on a bad day, I've got somewhere to be. There are still so many questions burning on the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, but instead I get threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. My eyes dart back over to the sea spring. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Ice's advice and clamp my mouth shut. Ice approaches a nearby soulless, a lanky dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly when Ice squats beside it. He runs his fingers through the tendrils, scratches its chin, and pats its head. A gentle smile plays across Ice's lips. The affection he holds for the soulless is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Following a short whistle from Ice's lips, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying. I watch the soulless warily. Pretty is not the word I would use to describe it, but the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process, but I give a small nod. At least I know I have another option for a cure, as disturbing as it may be. I follow the soulless at a measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips when I meet Ice's eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he flashes me an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow, I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another court nod. Outside, more crimson-eyed soulless scuttle about. It's hard to believe it's the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bog's mud. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the soulless looks over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. The Solus sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. Do I want to pet the Solus? As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the Solus's tendrils and scratch beneath its chin, just like eyes had. It pushes into my palm and responds, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the Solus spins around and scampers back in the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible, tamed Solus being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day. Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia. The city, labyrinthine even in daytime, has become a warren of treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted, but oh fuck, I completely messed up the pronunciation. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city was abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing towards the wet wick. My steps slow when I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is off. Is silence playing tricks on me? Is the silence playing tricks on me? Something is wrong. One moment, I'm taking a drink first. Almost just choked, one moment. Woo! The fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle, a frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. No shit, Sherlock. I wonder what's wrong. My eyes dart from one side of the street to the other, searching for movement, but the shadows are as deep and dark as pools of ink, and I see nothing. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tighter around my body, I hurry on my way. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder, maybe I really did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner and my thoughts come screaming to a halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. The Solus that attacked the caravan. It's crouched over a dark, indistinct shape of body. A garland of intense spills from pallid spreads. A garland of intestines spills from pallid flesh. Blood grouts the cobblestones. For a mercy, the Solus is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel as heavy as stones, but I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet, slurping sounds don't abate, I take another. Then another. Then a shard of glass crunches on my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the Solus raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils. Every single one of its sulphurous, bulging eyes fixed unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. Run. I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Behind me, the piercing bay splits the silence, and heavy footfalls pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now, a wet, fluttering rasp growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arm swipe out. I duck, saved by pure reflex, and skid around a corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way, a dead one. When I turn around, the Solus looms in the entry to the alleyway. It's no longer running, it doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the streets are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but scream for help. Try the nearest door. I whirl, grabbing the handle of the closest door. It turns completely, the hinges creaking as I push, and I feel a flash of hope before a weight hits the door from the other side and it slams shut. The click of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, never mind to a stranger. The soulless gives a rasping hiss. It's the only warning I get before it lunges for me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestones betray me. I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the soulless looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends on me for the kill. But the impact never comes. Oh, Leander saved me. No, it's Mysterious Boy. I rarely crack one eye open, then the other, not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one bloodstained hand outstretched. Woo! It's the dude we saw at the Cenobium trying to climb up the vine earlier. Why is his pupils red? His pupils are red, but his iris is white? What the fuck is going on? Moonlight silvers the edge of their stiletto knife. Their face and hands are splattered with blood. And the soulless? My eyes dart past my unexpected rescuer to the misshapen form behind them. The soulless's many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A red pool spurts slowly from under its body. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it's killed, after nearly killing me twice, I can hardly believe it. Well, I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dips to my bandages. Pale lips part, on the brink of a question, then close again. With a strength belying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me and start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Stay there. They turn away from me stiffly, leaning over the soulless's gangly body. With their back towards me, I realized that I saw their hooded silhouette at the Cenobium. You were at the Cenobium. You saved me. You're shorter than I thought. You saved me, or you were at the Cenobium? You were at the Cenobium. I've seen you before. You were at the Cenobium earlier, weren't you? They cast a wary look at me. So what if I was? Their harsh okay, no, we're not doing that one. You saved me. I shouldn't have had to. Their harsh response takes me aback. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. What are you thinking, traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. I can't make heads or tails of them. First they save me and now they scold me. Lesson learned. I could do without the lecture though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back to the soulless's corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Shadow. Min. Suddenly, Min tenses. Their blade flashes as they drive it into the base of the soulless's skull, right between the cervical vertebrae. The soulless thrashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper until there's a sickening crunch, and the creature goes limp. My heart thuds in my chest. It must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightens up, withdrawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put wretched things like this out of their misery. They calmly clean the blood from their knife. They struck with surgical precision. Their quick, clean movements are familiar. Are you a scientist? Min stops mid-motion, lifting their head to stare at me. You knew exactly where to strike. Have you studied autonomy or medicine? Not quite. Why is a soulless inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching before realization dawns. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Soulless can come and go as they please until someone is contracted to stop them. The Cenobium's patrols don't bother to protect Blowtown. Not anymore. Let me guess, you're not a fan of the Cenobium. I wouldn't go that far. Their brow abruptly furrows and they sheath their knife, motioning for me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not quite sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in this city. I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's so dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that soulless, and you are in the way. Not killing you isn't the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again, or you'll be dead by sunrise. Their answer is stingingly harsh. You know what? Fine. I just need to find my lodgings. I hold my hands up, trying to forestall any more snipey comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to get out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? Nothing, but there's no harm in asking. That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits and they look away, scowling. How troublesome. Shadow? I turn, surprised by the voice. Karas walks down the street towards us. His white and gold clothing is pristine, despite the grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that soulless was your work. Min shrugs. There's a familiarity to the way they regard each other. You know them, Karas? I didn't know you had friends, Min. You know them, Karas? Min is a freelancer who has done a few errands for me. They are quite reliable. Unreliable freelancers don't eat. A freelancer who wields a dagger like a scalpel? There must be something more to that story. Shadow needs to get back to wherever they're staying. Before they wander into the jaws of another soulless. It is late. Why were you? I can't read anymore. Fuck. Fucking shit, bitch. One moment. Let me just take a break for a moment. Reading so much is hard. Okay. I usually read in my head, not out loud. For the sole reason of I fuck up too much after a while. We are going to end the stream soon. If that's okay with everybody who is currently watching. We will end stream soon. It's been a while. It's been a while since I live streamed, but at the same time, it also takes a lot because what I do at work, I have to speak a lot, so I'm trying to save my voice as much as I can, and by using it as little as possible, but at the same time, I'm trying to be entertaining, so it's kind of not balancing it out. So yeah. We're just gonna finish this little part, and then we'll go on to when we go on to the next scene, that's when we'll stop, okay? It is late. Were you able to find a place to stay, Shadow? I'm staying at the Wetwick. Both their faces fall. Why? I see. You pointed me in the direction of the Wetwick and you didn't expect me to stay there? What the fuck is wrong with you, Karas? What's wrong with you, Min? Why did your face fall? What the fuck is going on between Karas, Min, and Leander? What the fuck? So, we've met Min. Well, going in order of how we meet them. We met Chorus, Leander, Chorus, as in the chorus to a song. We met Chorus, we met Leander, we met Eyes, we met Min. There's one more dude to meet. Well, no, shit, fuck. We met all 5. We met Chorus, Leander, Veer, Eyes, Min. Yes, there's 5 boys to meet because there's 5 boys on the cover of the game. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about alleyways. That would be nice. Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out. Going to the Amaryllis district, that gaudy cesspit? Come, this way. Despite Min's clear distaste when Curse leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow. It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but Curse is the only doctor worth a damn in this place. Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is answer enough. I catch Chorus hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the wet wick. The route Chorus takes is completely different from my slow meandering earlier in the morning. In no time at all, he cuts through the darkened streets and twisting alleys. It seems like half the city has poured into the Amaryllis district's colorful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the wet wick. Its doors hang wide open, lanterns lit. Here we are. You get the backside, of course. There you go. He moves toward the door, but Min lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. Fine. He still owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. And this is where we stop. This is where we stop. This is where we stop. Woo. This is where we stop. Woo. This is where we stop. Woo. So, shit, you guys don't need to see that. So, lovely, hey? Let's turn to this page. Hi. How was that as a stream? My voice currently hates me. Let's turn on some music. It's too quiet now. Let's play Empty Sky by Desert Star, hey? Never feel dreading open sky under that tail. Chasing past the stars at the dark of the night. Okay, so we're gonna end here. Unless you guys want me to do something else, but I think we're gonna end here so they can get something to eat, finish off some of the chores, and yeah. My thing isn't doing the thing. Whoop. There we go. That's better. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Touchstarved is a lot more interesting once you get past the first little bit. It hooks you with the soulless scene at the beginning where you are about to die. Where you should have died. And then it evens out. You meet a hot dude. Then you meet a second hot dude. Then you meet a third hot dude, and then it hooks you in with more action, and then you meet the fifth hot dude. Man, so many hot dudes. So, since Touchstarved is technically a dating atomic game, who are we going for? Are we going for all 5 of them? Is this a harem game? If it's a harem game, I'm down, I guess. Like, it helps me from having to... It saves me from having to choose if it is a harem game. But if it's like, you have to choose, I'd rather not choose. I'm just gonna check Steam before you end stream. I'm going to check Steam, and it's... And specifically Touchstarved's tags. Because I do believe a harem tag would be on Touchstarved if it's a harem game. Okay, so it is Touchstarved. It's the demo, so... I wanna run away, and I wanna dream of you. Touchstarved is a dark romance visual novel where your choices determine whether the story ends with gothic romance or blood-curdling horror. Explore an enigmatic city and find a cure for your curse by entrusting your fate to 5 love interests, each uniquely monstrous in their own way. So, popular user-defined tags is visual novel, dating sim, otome, adventure. +16 hours of gameplay. So, bum 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 ba ba da bum. So, from what I'm reading, there's 5 routes, which means you have to pick one, but with 3 different origins that you can pick from in the beginning of the game, plus different choices you can make. There are 15 plus endings to this story, and will we try and get each and every single one of them? No, that takes too much time. I will do that on my own time with my own account, but yeah. We're probably gonna stick with the path that we are going for right now, and we'll pick a dude. I think... Do I want to go with Fair? No. Do I want to go with Ace? Probably. That would probably be one of my first choices. So I don't want to go with Fair, that's for sure. So there's Min, Chorus, Leander, and Eyes left. I think Leander would be third pick. Min second, and Chorus and Eyes as tied top 2. Tied first. So, I guess we'll have a vote for that later, at a later date. Either Leander or Eyes. Not Leander, Eyes. Chorus or Eyes. I think I'm going with Eyes. For this first playthrough, I'm going with Eyes. Just because. Someone in a million arms, waiting for sleep to come. So I can dream about change. Gonna let it go. Well, I'm tired. I'm literally falling asleep right now. So, we are gonna turn on a more upbeat song than Butterfly Effect by Coven. Is this an upbeat song? I don't think this is an upbeat song, but we're trying it out. So, again, I'm gonna go off, get something to eat. I'm going to do the chores that I have built up. And yeah, I'm going to turn on the usual stuff to end stream. Like this. And turning off this. So, I'll see you guys in the next live stream or YouTube video, whichever one I get to do first. I have had no time recently. So I'm gonna turn up the music, rock out to it a little bit while doing chores and stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Hopefully you guys have a nice rest of your night, day, evening, morning, or whatever time it may be for you. I will see you guys later. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Bye.
drugs.